My toxic mother tried to arrange marriages for my teenage daughters without my consent. So I called the cops. I 45F and my mother 71F have a difficult relationship. My mother was an old-school, traditional wife. She was a homemaker, never did any work outside the house, had far more kids than what I think is healthy, 7 girls and 6 boys. She is originally from Guatemala and came to the U.S. when she was 14. She married my father here, had her family here, and tried to make sure myself and my siblings had old-school values. Something she really failed at it. Most of my siblings are as far from my mother as humanly possible. 2 of them sadly passed away. I'm the only one that stayed near to take care of my parents, and since Dad died, I've taken my mother's bills so she can live easy. She's always been a dramatic headache, especially when it came to my marriage. She babied my husband, always took his side. I only wanted 1 kid, but my husband wanted as many as biologically possible. He had told me he also only wanted 1 when we talked about marriage. My mother helped him mess with my birth control, so I got pregnant with my youngest. I don't regret my youngest daughter, but after she was born, I secretly had my tubes tied. My mother always berated me for being faulty since I only had 2 children. That's not counting how she berated me for marrying old. I married at 22. She married at 16. My husband was 49 when he died in a car crash recently. We shared 2 daughters, 14 and 16. He was also having an affair with a girl since 2020. The girl was 24 when she died. Together they had twin boys early this year who thankfully survived the crash. My daughters found out the affair first, when their father took them to the hospital to meet the babies and told the girls to keep it secret from me. They didn't, and my husband became abusive towards them and myself. We were in the divorce process when he died. When my husband's affair came out, my mother blamed me. She said it was because I was a working woman that didn't please her husband, that I didn't give him enough children, that I was pretty anymore. I'm not going to say I'm super attractive, but I think I look good for my age. I've kept my weight well enough, and I look relatively young for my actual age. But no, according to my dear mother, I wasn't good enough for my husband who needed a girl closer in age to our daughters than to him. She also was on the group of people angry at me when I refused to adopt my husband's affair children. Her newest crazy is she's trying to find husband for my daughters, mainly focused on my eldest. This crazy plan started this week when my eldest came out to us. I had an idea, and I'm happy she felt comfortable enough in this massive mess we're in to still tell me and her sister. My daughter also decided to tell my mother about it. My mother just ended the call, then called me to scream about how confused and sick my daughter is. She's linked me conversion camps, psychologists that claim homosexuality is a sickness, wackos in my opinion, political articles, etc. She even wanted to see about doing an exorcism. I told her to stop it, or she would be in no contact with my in-laws. She stopped for literally 24 hours. Next thing I get is a Facebook message from a man in his mid-20s asking if it was true that I was looking to marry out my 16-years-old daughter. I told him he was sick and blocked him. I got 6 more through the night. Then my mother called saying she found husband prospect for my girls, my high school age girls. Angry has been an understatement. She even gave some of these men my daughter's cell phone numbers. We're all getting new phone numbers tomorrow, and I had the girls put their social medias into private. I don't know what part of the brain is broken in my mother's brain. I had the girls block their grandmother in everything, and I'm stopping payments to anything that my mother needs. I know I need to call the cops. I just never thought I would need to call the cops on my own mother. It's been only 2 weeks since I had to cut my in-laws. I'm just exhausted. And please do not think this is a normal Hispanic thing. It's not. My aunts are amazing women, most of them also homemakers. They're actually on my side of cutting off my mother and calling the cops. They even suggested for my daughters and I to move closer to them in another state. This is just my mother being insane. Small update. We went to the police today and they took all the information I had. The officer we spoke was incredible and immediately helped my lawyer with all that was needed for a temporary RO. We'll be filing it this week and hopefully get it within the month. After we'll focus on a permanent RO. This is on my mother and any third parties on her behalf. The officer was also kind enough to offer to check on us in our house at least once a day. School has also been notified of the situation, and one of my brothers is going to come live with my daughters and I until we decide if slash or slash when we move. I can't just up and pack everything since I still have a job and my girls are in the middle of the school year. For now, we're safe, and my girls have new phone numbers. Update. So some good news came out today regarding my mother. As of November 2020, she will be on her own monetarily. There's also an investigation on her regarding what she tried to do to my daughters, and a very old investigation reopened about a family matter I can't really speak on for the time being. Because of the charges on my mother, we might get an expedite on that restraining order since there's minors involved, so fingers crossed. The RO will also keep some others from contacting me, mainly in-laws. On other news, after talking to my daughters, the three of us agree we don't really like our house anymore. It makes me a bit sad because it was my childhood home and a gift from my dad, but the reality is there's too much baggage. I look at some places and it feels like the ghost of my husband's infidelity is everywhere. My girls don't like that we're so close to their grandparents, and my brother who's moved in with us has been very blunt about the fact that the house is just not worth the stress. So as painful as it is, I'm planning to do some repairs and either sell or rent it out. It's a big house, 9 bedrooms, so far more space than we ever need. I'll be happy with half that so my girls can have their own room and I can have an office. My brother will also stay living with us after we move. Not sure if it's a forever situation, but he's a good support for my eldest daughter when it comes to LGBTQ plus matters. I have to admit, I know the bare facts. While my brother is gay and came out almost 30 years ago, he's been a fount of advice about resources and given her advice, especially after my mother's stunt. My youngest has also started to do better. She's back to talking as usual and seems less scared about going out. She's been very excited about looking for a new house with me. She wants the perfect yard. So, we'll see what we can find. My job offered a transfer out of state, also an international transfer, but that one is more likely a no for me. So a new beginning will do us good. That's all what I got. Not much actual updates, as much as settling my mind on some decisions after reading advice here and talking it through with people in my life. As of November, I'm officially refusing to acknowledge my mother. As far as I know, my parents were gone after my father died. Update 2. This is a small update, but wanted to let everyone know we're doing okay. I still can't share many details, but we finally have a court date for the restraining order. It took longer than I expected, but things have been somewhat quiet. I'll let you all know more when I can.